I'm Luella from Endelose Cosplay. I'm one half of the duet of it, and today we're going to talk about sewing boxes. It's something that anyone who does any type of sewing, whether you're a cosplayer or you make different things for, dogs and pillows and things like that, it's something you're gonna have because you always have small supplies. Feet, needles, spools, everything. You need something to keep it all contained. So I'm going to show you the different ones I've used or been given over the last 10 years. I'm going to tell you some of my opinions and what I've learned works well for me, because it's going to be your own decision what one works good for you. But I want to give you some info of what I've learned, so maybe I'll save you some pain and suffering. Okay, we're going to first start off with this. This is a basket that has had a fabric lining put in it so that it could be used as a sewing box. It's not something I really like. It was given to me. It was somebody's grandmother, I forget whom. People give me supplies all the time. But what I find is annoying is it's really a bad organizational thing. And if you have more than just a little bit of supplies, it's going to be a problem. So the pockets like to eat things, and you never find them again. When I emptied this out, I found so many buttons and pins and things in it. And the other problem is when you stick your hand in there, you can't see what you're trying to get. And let's say you've got a loose pin and one that you didn't know about, or a safety pin that's come open, and then you're going to scream and pull out your hand. You got a pin stuck in it. It's not a fun thing. I think this works better for knitting, because you can put the balls in there and you can have your central area, but it really isn't a good one if you're going to have straight pins and needles and sharp objects in it. So I don't find this works well for me at all, because you lose too much stuff in it. What I started off with was the plastic ones. They're like thin, acrylic-y plastic. They were very popular for a long while there. I don't think you can buy these exactly like this still at the store, because they kind of have some downfalls. They're great for starting. You can usually find them at thrift stores or flea markets, or maybe your grandma has one, or your mom, or somebody's does, because I've accumulated a spare one of these. I only ever got one. And they're a good starter, but they're not going to be something you're going to use for a long time. So here's the problems with them. One, it's just this plastic, it comes apart over age. Now, not all plastic ones are going to do this. It's the type of this is. It likes to crack and get holes. This one's got a nice chunk missing out of it on that corner. The other one I have is in far worse shape. The latch is busted off, so whenever I pick it up, it immediately decides to spew all of its contents everywhere. The trays aren't in too bad a condition, but as you can see, it's totally fractured on the side and this side, and it's going to start going through. Once I finish this video, these two are going in the recycling bin because they are toast. And I can't even pass them along to someone who might be able to use them. The other problem with this that I have found is they're noisy as heck. So if you're trying to do sewing quietly and you need to put these containers back in, hey, wow, that's shocking. They actually went in. That's the other problem. They usually get slightly off when you're trying to set them in. They don't go in fully. There we go. Here's one that's not exactly in. It can do, let me turn it so you guys can see it. It can cockeye itself, and then you think you got it in, you're like, okay, that's in, and all of a sudden it's not shutting. The other problem I feel with these is they do not allow for a lot of division of products in them. I like to have trays that have a lot of individual little spaces so I can sort things properly, so it's easier to find. And I don't like overall keeping my spools in here. I have them on the wall. If you look at our Instagram account, there's a picture of it. I'll go over storage of thread on another video. But they're good for starting. They got holes for your scissors. You can keep a little bit of thread, but I find that thread gets all tangled up and you try to pull one spool and you pull two, and it just gets very frustrating. It's great for starting, but it's not going to be a long-term fix. Oh, what I went from with these is I graduated up to these wooden ones, which I really do like, and they're very durable. This one was originally my fiance Brian, the other half of Endelose Cosplay's grandmother's. This one was a co-worker's grandmother's or aunt, one of the two. They passed away in this case, and well, actually in both cases, but this one passed away and none of the family sewed, so I ended up with it. Now, I find these work really good, being sturdy, and they actually are really pretty too. I like them visually, but the only problem I have with them, even though it has a great amount of space, if you're going to fit something in them, like let's say this pathetic excuse of a, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name of this thing, bobbin holder, which of course, as you can see, has no lid, so therefore if you flip it upside down, it's going to spew bobbins everywhere. It can fit in there, but if you try to put something else in there, it's not going to happen. This one works really great if I'm going to go do a fitting with a client and I need just a few items, maybe some fabric samples, my tape measure, some pins, you know, a small assortment of things, and I want it to look nice and look professional, but still a little bit unique. So that works great for this one. This one, if I'm going to a convention and I'm going to be doing maybe a repair station, or if I'm going to be, you know, actually having supplies to repair my own costumes in, and friends at the hotel room, this one works really great because I can put select things and certain ones. The problem is it doesn't have any dividers, so if I get too many different things in each one, it gets all clustery and it's hard to pull anything. That's why it's very good for select tools when you're going somewhere. Not for everything, because seriously, you're not going to use all of your supplies all at the same time at some convention. You should be enjoying it. But if you know, put some Velcro in here, some sewing needles and pins in here, tape measure, you know, your common sense repair stuff. And because it's nice and it's a solid wooden one, it's durable, it can be stacked, it can be taken, and it's got a good handle. So it works really good for that. It's great for and things like that. It's not great for long-term storage for my supplies. Now you saw the little divider guys I pulled out that are inserts. I already talked about this one. This one is one for if you wanted to have select number of spools in here. Yet again, this is an older product. I don't know if they still sell them in stores. It has its purpose, but one of the things I hate is if you grab it wrong and you don't grab the base and you just grab the lid, this is going to fall off and then your spools are going to go ever again. Also, it's made of that same weird plastic that these guys are made of, and it degrades over time and it does bad things like that where it breaks. It's got its purpose. It can do some things really well. Not a great one for long-term storage. So, I've been through all these boxes, and it's been over 10 years of sewing and learning, and I finally realized my mom was right the whole time. I never really liked her sewing box because I thought it was ugly, and I was not looking at it in a functional form. I was just taking it at face value as a teenager, staring at this sewing box sitting next to Mom's sewing machine, and I'm going, I don't like the color. So, for you 90s kids, you will remember the Caboodles, the Oodles of Caboodles cosmetic kits, basically the women's answer, you know, women's colors version of a tackle box. So if you want to pull a tackle box, it's going to be about the same thing. Now, what I like about it is that it's got space up top, so I can put my feet that have their own little dividers and stuff that I've ordered separately, and I can have some of the bigger feet, like the ruffling foot, that won't fit into the drawer section. Also can put any bigger tools. I will have a tutorial on what this one is. It's really fun. And they fit in here, whereas they won't fit down here. But I can close it up. It has little locking places. Never really need to lock up my sewing supplies, but you know, some people might have to do that. If you have someone who keeps using your sewing scissors for paper, for example, I would put a lock on that. So, it's got little drawers so I can have all my supplies separated by what they are. My hey, you stay in there. My, double-ended needles, not double-ended, the ones with the, in my hand, hates me, where it's got two needles next to each other. I can do my universals, my jerseys, my stretch, things like that, and then I've got all my Elna feet all organized here. And then my miscellaneous, I'm not sure what they get to, but I'm keeping them because you never throw out feet. And then I've got all my tools, my bizarre amassment of thimbles, tailor's chalk, and everything else I can use. And then the best part is, see this? We do that, and look, everything's still where it's supposed to be. No one decided to visit their neighbors. It's great. I can't tell you how many times I've flipped one of these, or even this, and everything is in everything else all of a sudden. And it's a nightmare. So, I really like it. Eventually, yes, I'll be painting it, because this is not my color scheme at all. But for now, it works great. So, one thing I do, because I have all my supplies here, I do have a little basket where I keep my immediate things I need for my project at hand. This is going to always stay in there, and we'll have one about pen cushions. But, my tape measure, if I'm using pens, if I'm using, my chalk pen, and my scissors were in here, and they have, because I know where they are now. Let's say they've ran off, and that's a problem. Where are my sewing scissors? So, that's what I do. I have my little setup here, and then I've got this. And if I need one of these for travel, I'll translate what I need out of here into there. And then I'm good to go. So I hope you guys find this to be an informative and helpful video. I know there are more sewing boxes out there. These are just the ones I've had the chance to deal with. There may be better versions, more that suit your need. So make sure you always go out and check out what you can get. And don't just think you can only get a sewing box from a sewing store. Tackle box. You can get that at Walmart. And they work great! And you can paint them, because that's what plastic paint is for. If you don't like the green colors that I think they come in. So, hope you enjoyed this. Hope you'll come back for more of our videos. We're going to have more constantly upcoming, and it should be fun. So, thanks for watching, and have